So Art on Tezos, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. As Alex perfectly mentioned, Art on Tezos is the heartbeat of the Tezos community. And today, we have an amazing lineup of speakers. We actually sat down exactly, oh my God, round of applause, everyone, well done.
We saw that slide.
This is how organized Art on Tezos is. So just so I kind of understand and read the room, could you please raise your hand if someone has collected an NFT on Tezos? Wow, wow, well done. So hopefully by the end of the talk, everyone, hands and legs and feet will be up. So today we're going to go, we're limited on time. So I'm going to introduce briefly sort of like what our team at Trilitech does. And then we have a series of presentations, mini presentations by every speaker. So they're going to introduce themselves. And then later on, as Alex mentioned, we have an immersive show that we prepared for you. And I'm going to talk about the show later if we have time. If not, you'll have to discover it yourself. So what is sort of like Art on Tezos, what is Trilitech, and what does the arts team do? So as we mentioned earlier, sort of like the key pillars of the community is artists, collectors, and everyone else involved, whether you're writing about art, whether you're posting amazing threads on Twitter about art, or wishing someone GM, or connecting with people. It is a community of thousands of people who are enthusiastic and show up every day, which is incredible. You don't really see this level of connection across other chains. Then we have marketplaces. So today we have the largest marketplace founders with us. So our team supports all four pillars, whether it's we're working on sort of like strategic direction, whether it's connecting people with our other teams, like our tech support team, infrastructure, so working with different like from wallets to indexers, figuring out how can we make the experience more smooth for everyone. And programming. Programming is a very large part of it. Art on Tezos programming is the leading programming across all blockchains, which we're really proud of. Whether it is working with institutions or with projects online. So as many of you know, MoMA has used Tezos for their project, for their postcard project, Museum of Arts and Science in Singapore, Musée d'Orsay in Paris. The world's leading museums have adopted the Tezos blockchain. But at the same time, from top to of the art world to sort of like the more digital community, we realized the need to be more sort of like native to the digital community and launch projects that are online for artists that cannot travel to these big cities, but they can still be engaged. So our programming varies, whether it's giving a grant to support someone, whether it's actually from start to finish launching a campaign and working together with groups of people. So here are just a few examples of some of the programming, whether it's collector interviews, whether it's a mix of in real life events or just open calls that we support to kind of continue fostering the community, giving them opportunities to showcase their art, to be spotlighted by others, and to really connect people together. And then also there are in real life events. How many people here have attended one of these events? Can you raise your hand? Okay, all right. We have a good fourth. So hopefully in the coming year, you guys are gonna get a chance to attend more. So this is just a small fraction of some of the programming that takes place. And we're also gonna talk later, Zankan will mention some of the things that were taking place as early as last week. So without further ado, I'm going to pass on the words to Brian and Timmy to maybe introduce themselves and some of the things that is happening at Object.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. I'm Brian, co-founder and CEO at Object. And I will introduce the platform to you. I think most of you already raised your hand when Alex asked you if you'd collected an NFT on Object, so there's not much really to tell you. But yeah, we founded Object in 2021. We were attracted to this art movement that was happening on Tezos at the time, became part of it, and started building. So we built tools that we needed, and that eventually ended up in becoming Object. Object, since November last year, has a gallery feature. So we have already over 45 galleries onboarded onto the platform. The gallery feature enables galleries to interact in a decentralized way with artists and other entities such as curators. And over the last, what is it now, about 9 months, we've onboarded more and more. The volume is steadily increasing, and we have physical and virtual exhibitions from Paris to Tokyo.
Yeah, most recently, the arts department of the University of Vienna opened a gallery on Object, and already 2 cohorts of their students started minting NFTs on Tezos, which is absolutely incredible. I guess for Timmy, we're passing on the slides to a very exciting project recently launched. Tell us a bit more.
Sure, yeah. Hello, everyone. My name's Timmy, also one of the co-founders. Yes, I think it's my 3rd TezDev, the warmest one so far. Yeah, art packs is something that we launched as an initiative to sort of incentivize more collecting on Object. So the main thing is the more you collect, the more, or for everything you collect, you get a chance for an art pack to be dropped. And it's basically a booster pack, like you can think of Pokemon trading cards with 60 curated artists, so different rarities. And yeah, I think our users really like it. We were a bit scared initially because we don't want to make it look like something cheap. The contents of the pack are, some of them are shaped like cards, but they can really be anything. And so the way we think of it is you collect art and you receive more art. So just something fun. It's running for another, 2 weeks? End of
July.
End of July. So yeah, feel free to try to grab some. We're also giving away some art packs to viewers here or people watching the stream. So the way that works is if you tag us, Object.com, and you can mention art pack scan, we will randomly select some to give out the art packs. Yeah, that's basically it.
It's so exciting. So if you collect on Object over a certain threshold, you increase your chances of randomly being airdropped an art pack. And then you have a choice. Either you sell it or you can unveil how it's shown on the screen. How many people have already received an art pack? Okay. Ooh, I think we have a lot of giving away to do. It's a fun activity. It's as FA earlier mentioned on the gaming panel, it's a gamification. That kind of bridges the idea of art collecting, but also sharing an experience together. And then coming back to the feed.
Do you want to go for that?
Sure. The feed was something we've been working on for a very long time. And we always wanted to release something that makes discoverability better. Discoverability is something we're constantly working on. And if I'm not mistaken, a year and a half ago at a NFT NYC or something, I was actually talking about this feature. So it took a while to build, but it's finally here. It's not in its end shape, so we're continuously improving it. But yeah, you can go to object.com/feed and you will have a personalized feed based on the people that you follow on the platform. And it's really cool. I use it daily. I buy much more art through it, so that might not be a good thing for my wallet, but I really enjoy it.
I think this taps into a very important point when it comes to collecting art on the blockchain, because there are many different platforms and there are millions of NFTs minted. And especially for those that didn't raise your hand, I can only imagine how overwhelming it can be when you discover a new platform. How do you find the art? And what's interesting on Object is when you click on feed, for those people that don't already have a following, they have an algorithm that suggests arts, but they also have hand-picked curated arts almost daily that's selected by their team of curators. So to tap into sort of like the broader audience outside of crypto, it's an excellent onboarding mechanism. And since this just literally launched like a few days ago, every day there's a new iteration and it's improving. So it would be really interesting to follow this journey. I'm going to pass on the mic to Mr. Michael Zanken.
Yeah, I recognize this one. Okay, so Tezos started a partnership with the gallery.
Wait.
Which is...
How many people know Michael? Can you raise your hand? All right. So maybe for the other half, let's do a little
Okay,
quick
okay.
introduction.
So I go by the name of Zenken, which is my real name actually, and I've been showing my work on Tezos ever since March 2021, and I had a very explosive success, we can say that, on this blockchain, especially with the very active community, and so I've done a lot of works on Tezos, released on Object, but also on FXhash in generative art. And yeah, I became one of the top selling artists on Tezos, we can say that. And so we arrived to this slide, and I was so happy to talk about because we opened a solo show that is going to run for 1 month in New York, supported by the Tezos Foundation. And it features this tree made of 83 embroidered artworks, and also there is a wall with a lot of physical pieces that trace my history of works on the Tezos blockchain. And so it's a lot about physical art, but it's physical art that comes from digital art in the first place. Well, the gallery itself has been active for a long time, Alex, in digital art. They are one of the main gallery.
Yeah, this marks a very interesting moment. The partnership with with Bitform's gallery for us, because Bitform's gallery is one of the first galleries to explore artists working with new media technology. They've been around for 25 years. They were one of the first to bring Rafik Anadol's physical pieces to the market. They represent some of the leading digital artists, and for us, it was an opportunity to bring some of the most established artists in the ecosystem and be like, okay, what is the next step in their career? And often physicality plays a massive role in that. How do you translate to new audiences things that sometimes are only digital into a physical realm? So creating that tree on the right, it's 83 individual works that Michael worked for a year to make. And to do an installation like this is the museum level work. If someone's interested in acquiring, I can talk to you later, private deals. But it is a very big undertaking. And so I just honestly, a round of applause just for the fact that you guys managed to realize this. Yeah, very big. So we had curators from museums come in and learn more about it. We had Christian Paul from the Whitney Museum of Art, who've been doing biennials for digital art, come in. Reporters take interviews. We recently had Sebastian from Sandbox come in also, do a little reportage. So it's been a very significant and big moment, and there's more to come. I know maybe you could talk a little bit more about some of the pieces you've been releasing and yet to release.
Yes. As I said, the show is running for 1 month, and we are going to arrange some moments during the course of this exhibition. Last week I released 4 new pieces, digital ones, on object.com. It went really well. Edition piece, very affordable, and the collectors were there to collect actively. That was very a pleasure to witness. And there are more digital pieces coming as part of this show. They are not ready yet, so I'm actively creating, as you can see. But also there is one thing. It's important because backstage, so as you said, it's been quite a journey to build that tree. Initially, my plan was to try and sell the tree in pieces in a decentralized way. But Steve from the gallery finally convinced me that it should stay as one piece. So this is why we are targeting museum, because it's way too expensive for most wallets. But then, it's not possible for any collector to acquire one of these embroidered pieces. So we are planning to do more embroideries in the future. So I have to go back to my very tedious work of embroidering in my studio. But we are going to make a mixed experience where, with those gentlemen developing an object, we are building a very special kind of NFT where you will be able to be part of making an embroidery or have a very good simulation of what it is to create an embroidery with my generative works. So we are working on that, and we hope that it's going to be available to collect in the coming weeks.
Wow, coming weeks. Ooh, so exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that journey. It's definitely exciting to see how many different aspects of the tree and how it continues to evolve. I'm going to pass on the words to another artist who joined us today. Thank you so much. And also one of the curators behind the show that we're going to see later today. How are you?
I'm good. My name is Gembrut. I work with AI, which is received in many different ways at this moment. I think as an artist, it's partly my duty to interrogate this new technology in a way that I try to bear it for its for what we are dealing with in a creative, in a visual way. If I was a scientist, I would do it in a very different way. But I think there's a role for artists to investigate these technologies that will be such a, and already are such a huge influence on all of our lives and societies. I started minting on Tezos roughly in the same week as Michael did. It has been a roller coaster ride and a great adventure because I met so many people that were like-minded, that had some kind of comparable way they balanced out their creativeness, their sensitivity, their intelligence. I've been traveling for the last 4 years and met people like Michael and Alex, and of course these guys as well, all over the world. And it's been wonderful to feel part of a community, which I never really, I never felt that I had so much in common with a group of people. I'm not a very group person, I always thought, but I really found my tribe here. So yes, most of my work, I have a few different leads that I follow, but most of my work is very intuitive. I started working with AI before it was even possible to prompt with large language models. So most of my work still is based on image-to-image technology. I kind of reimagine existing images or combine them or breed them. And I like to include different kinds of cultures and styles and influences that always have inspired me. So there's many things in my works that you can recognize from comics, from video games, but also from ancient paintings and the like. Let's see. Oh, this is these are new images that I will probably mint very soon on either object or still on Theia. Of course, object is here now, but I really like the idea that there was once a very decentralized platform, Hikatnunk, and that became Theia. There's not many people that still know that there is a way to mint on Tezos outside of Object. I think Object has a few really good tools, like collections and everything they do from curation and advising and galleries are not present there, but still, as an artist, I love the purity of a platform like that. I thought I had a couple more, but I guess these are the ones that they chose. Yeah. I forgot to tell you that my background is I think I have always felt like an artist, but I was never really able to express myself in an unattached way. I always worked in applied arts because that made it safer for me to work with creativity but not give too much away of who I am. And by working with AI and the minting of NFTs at one point, I kind of got out of my shell and my closet in that sense. I have a history of photography, mostly as a documentary photographer. And before I worked, even before I did 3D computer animation, I worked with physical models and sculpting and airbrushing, and used these techniques to do special effects for film and models for museums and advertising photography. And then I worked as an art director for Sony Computer Entertainment, video games for 3.5 years. So everything combined, when I first got into contact with early AI models, I felt that everything I had ever done kind of crossed paths here. That's about it.
I love that. Thank you so much. And maybe we can leave it on the last slides where, just in case, and just one more. So this is coming soon. And this one, I don't know if you guys can see our handles, but later on, we're just going to leave it because when I get asked, like, how do I get started? Where do I discover? I typically just give handles of people on Twitter because, let's be honest, 90% comes from Twitter. So we have our sort of like final 5 minutes. I just have like a few more questions, and then I'm also like, if someone has a question, you can also prepare and raise your hand. But you touched on an interesting point about the fact that you sort of like your background comes across advertising, photography, gaming, and I'm seeing more and more, like the more I get to know the artists, the more different backgrounds I discover. And I think Brian and Timmy, I would love one of you to maybe address this, is like, what do you see, or do you see sort of like any patterns or sort of like the types of, like, maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the types of creators and their backgrounds that you've discovered or found very interesting and unexpected when you sort of like made the transition to sort of like build on Tezos and build Object?
Hard question. I mean, what fascinated me always was the diversity of the backgrounds, right? You have artists from all over the world, from all, different types of social statuses, from everywhere, and I think that's incredible. And, just to be able to go on there, collect something from, for example, an artist in Indonesia, and having an impact on that artist with my how much I pay is, to me, incredible. So that's what drew me to the ecosystem, and that's what still keeps me going, I think.
And all of you, like, what do you think makes people come back, right? Because like in real world, people don't collect art as often as people collect NFTs. Like, what do you think is the main reason that we see the same people coming back every day, collecting art several times a day? Like, what is happening?
I don't think that people from the real world are coming back every day to collect on object.com. I didn't even try to convince the people around me to go on and buy NFTs. But inside that circle of NFT collectors, people are just simply convinced in the first place that this is a very incredible innovation, and they make connections with people, and the fact that in Web3 is very easy to connect with the artists, and you know that when you collect an artist, you are supporting him, including financially, directly, with basically no intermediaries. So it really enhance the relationship that you can have with the artist, hence with the art. So I think this stronger bond that you can have with the artist is also a very great incentive to collect art.
Yeah, that definitely is one of the reasons I guess when you live and breathe it, like you just don't see any other way. But it's always very interesting to see like people's journeys. We have like final minutes. Do we have any questions from the audience? It can be as easy as what an NFT is. I hope we don't have that question though. All right, yeah, go.
My question is, many artists who are freelance artists or who work for companies, art studios, are very reluctant about the NFT technology, blockchain technology. I would love to know, what was your decision to embrace it as artists? And what would you say is a reason why people should try it out?
Great question.
I started it out as an experiment. I thought this is something that I have to try. To come back to your question before, I think one of the reasons that this is so enormously exciting is that most disciplines that people doing, that most kind of art forms that people are performing are very much of now. We're working with technologies that are daily reinvented or evolving. So it's very much happening. That attracted me in at the first place. And when I minted my first NFT, I thought, okay, well, I hope people will buy this, but I am not going to pay for a JPEG. And it took me a week, and because everything that came by, it took me a week, and I was completely sold, and I started collecting myself. If I made any money, I spent like 3/4 of it right away buying stuff of others, and the fever hit me. I mean, it's I thought about this a lot, but there's many reasons. But I think it's just you also realize that it's not about really owning a work. It's more like you're supporting, like Michael said, you're supporting an artist, and the work is for everyone because it's on the blockchain. Everybody can see it, can download it, can even print it if they want. I really like that kind of democratic approach to art, and it's similar to something being bought by a community and put into a museum where everybody can see it. So.
Maybe Michael, what made you step over the initial stigma?
When I discovered NFTs, I immediately tried to understand as much as I could about it. I didn't know anything about crypto, for instance, but I really immediately understood that it was a breakthrough innovation in the art world. Myself, I have a background in painting. I was an oil painter for many years, but I didn't have the credentials, for instance. So I'm a self-taught artist. And So I could never really enter the art world. And also I was a programmer. I've been coding since the age of 8. And when I discovered this, it was like a blank canvas and you could do anything in it. And for me, it was about merging my two sides into one, and also to be able to just freely put my work for sale out there and maybe eventually sell some. But there was this absolute freedom, like even the style of what was on the blockchain in the first place was so new. It was based on the internet culture, the memes and all. It was totally free, and also it was like it was revolutionary in a sense. And this freedom here attracted me the most, I think.
Yeah, they often refer to sort of like art on the blockchain as the outsider art, similar to how graffiti was sort of like a medium of its own outside of the art world. And I think that freedom to experiment has definitely been a binding force for a lot of people. We ran a little overtime, but I think that we can definitely continue this conversation, come to any of us. And I would like us to move to the back office, to the back gallery, where now we're going to have an immersive show about the 5x5. So 5x5 is actually a very interesting initiative we launched in January, where we're like, instead of having sort of like curators curate, why don't we invite artists to curate other artists? So we said we have 5 months until TezDev. Why don't we invite 5 artists? So one of them is on stage with us, Gambirds, then Gold Cat, and then we will have all the full list there. But we're like, okay, but let's make a theme. Like, let's set a sense of direction. So each artist was given an element, whether it's a fire, whether it's water, metal, air. And so each curation was following an element. So today you're going to see all these 5 different elements by 5 different artists per show, shown all together at the same time. And then after that, we're going to have a selection of work from Object 1, which is another curated gallery on objects. So today you get a chance to discover quite a lot of art on Tezos. Thank you so much for being here with us, and look forward to hearing your thoughts on the show.